pointed look when she said matriarch. Kenzie smirked. She wanted to rip his fucking face off with her bare hands, but everything about this whole thing between his family and hers had to be kept a secret. She gave him the middle finger anyway. They'd managed to save a little over half of the victims on the list thanks to that one raven flock backing off, and she wanted to rub his face in it. Celine grabbed her hand and yanked it down, giving her a look that pleaded with her not to make things worse. Her sister was already worried that Takahashi was onto the blood feud and didn't want that getting brought to light. The consequences wouldn't be pretty. Kenzie sighed and looked up. At least the building had always been a place she'd enjoyed, even if she hadn't really been welcome. The Coven was in one of the oldest buildings in San Francisco. It was one of the few that had survived the massive earthquakes back in 1906 and the subsequent fires. Obviously, thanks to the magic wards carved into the very foundation, the bricks, and the support beams with witch blood. There was a glass dome in the ceiling that was reminiscent of the Victorian era when the last additions had been made. The wrought iron kept out the fae, and the brick was made with protective spells. There was ash, alder, apple, maple, holly, hazel, elm, elder, and cedar wood used for every single possible thing, adding to the magic of the Coven, easing some of the strain on the witches. Furniture was made from black walnut, and plants were everywhere. There were living walls in every room, with herbs and plants they used for various different spells. The Coven building had always spoken to Kenzie on a visceral level she'd never understood. She'd chalked it up to witch DNA, even if she didn't have powers. Apparently, it was a lot more than that. Voids. Takahashi began to read from her tablet. Kenzie knew most everything there was to know about her class of witch, but maybe the High Priestess would surprise her. A witch with the power to absorb and use any power in the universe. She paused there, and Kenzie felt her heart pound. Yeah, that little gem had freaked her out the first time she'd read it, too. Like, any power? What did that even mean? Could she take divine power? Kenzie didn't want to know, and she certainly didn't want to piss off someone like Lucifer by taking it. I can't keep the power, Kenzie cut in with a shrug. Only for short periods of time. Then I release it back into the universe. Takahashi eyed her, but didn't snap at the interruption. There are cases in the Council archives that describe some of what voids have done in the past. Case number 1 from 476 CE, the witch Sai went on a rampage through Europe and took power from every paranormal he came across, thus resulting in the fall of Rome. It was so hard not to roll her eyes. She crossed her arms over her chest and glared, though. Of course, the High Priestess started off with that one. In the year 453 CE, Attila prevented the apocalypse by absorbing the powers of the Yao Guai. Balance, Kenzie said in the quiet meeting room. We are created to provide balance. Have you read all of the recent reports from the Council? There have been multiple persons born or created with massive amounts of power lately. The universe always demands balance. Takahashi just sighed and looked up at Kenzie. Obviously, Mackenzie, but there is no one to train you in this magic. Who knows what the consequences to that will be? We cannot predict what will happen. Are you a threat? A danger? That's when her beautiful, amazing sister stepped forward in one of her favorite Coven dresses, barely more than black cobwebs, with her onyx necklace to signify her position as Matriarch Kavanaugh. High Priestess, to be fair, witches are neutral. We are neither good nor bad, but we keep the balance. Kenzie is my equal, the yin to my yang. How you describe her potential is something that could be said of all witches. I could burn this place to the ground with the power I possess. Everyone in the meeting took in a